All right, let's talk about wireframing. I love wireframing and I'm really excited to share why it's so awesome. But ironically, I didn't use wireframing for a long time. I had heard about it early on in my career as a developer and I totally blew it off. And eventually, I finally came around to trying it and I realized that I had misunderstood completely what wireframing is and what good it serves. So the important thing here is that wireframing is not busy work. It's not just something designers do to take up time and just pump out files and show that they've been busy with something. It's not this like intermediate step that you could just skip and get to the real work, quote unquote. It's actually extremely high ROI. The time that you spend in wireframing is some of the most valuable time that you will spend. In just 1 or 2 hours of wireframing, you can solve so many problems that it's really there's really nothing like it. I could spend 2 hours in balsamic wireframing an app and then breeze through the app in a couple hours. Whereas if I had skipped that initial 2 hours, I might spend 15 hours building that app, or I might not even ever finish it because I might get caught up on so many snags and I have to redo so many parts that I get demoralized and just kind of get sick of it. So yeah, just a little time investment here is super valuable. And wireframing really is all about the user experience and the data model. Specifically, when we're talking about wireframing an app or a product before we have even started writing any code here. You can also wireframe new features on an existing product, and that's useful too. You'll flesh out the data model of those new features. But for a brand new kind of greenfield project, when all this stuff, the user experience and data model, it's all really up for grabs, wireframing is an amazing tool to figure out these parts. And this is what I'm talking about when I say that wireframing is not fluff, it's not busy work. It's really the opposite. Wireframing has you focus on these two elements, which are the most important parts of your app, right? The user experience is how your app solves a problem for its users. And the data model is how you're going to actually implement this thing in code or in whatever tools you're using. So wireframing really gets rid of the fluff. It gets rid of the sort of unimportant things like what color are buttons, design elements and branding elements. These are kind of like a coat of paint. The real core of the product is the user experience and the data model, which allows it to work. With wireframing, you immediately get to have this like aha moment. So it's really fun. You get to see your app come to life, like right there. Within an hour or two, you can see how your customers are going to flow through the app. You can click around inside of it like an interactive prototype, and it feels real right away. It's really exciting. It gives you a strong checkpoint that you have passed when you have this functional prototype. It doesn't take very long, but it feels like a big achievement, and that's great. That keeps your motivation, the initial motivation of your new idea rolling. And very importantly, it sets you up to keep that momentum going once you actually do start building. It's very easy to get excited and jump right into building and skip this kind of preparation and think, you know what, I don't need to do all that. I just want to build. And I get that because I was always that way. And even still, I have to kind of force myself to like, whoa, hit the brakes and do that wireframe because I know from experience now how valuable it is. What happens is when you have your wireframe, you are going to glide through the building process so much smoother. And that's going to keep you in flow. That's going to keep things enjoyable. It's going to make everything go way faster, which is really important because we all know that a new project comes with this burst of motivation and excitement, but that is super short-lived. It really quickly can turn into frustration and confusion. I don't know if this is actually going to work. And that will happen a lot faster if you're constantly running into snags and realizing like, oh, I messed this thing up from the very beginning and now I have to go and undo all these other things I did. A few of these kind of dead ends and having to redo things in a row, and you might not finish that project on the weekend, and then you get busy during the week, and by next weekend, so much time has passed that you're not as excited about it anymore. So wireframing sets you up for like long-term success in the project overall. So I hope that convinced you why wireframing is just super high value. Like I said, it doesn't have to take a long time. 1 or 2 hours can get you so much value that honestly it's hard to overstate. So now I just want to get into how we do it.